not too kind to blasters right now, so interested to see what they bring out. Cosmic, of course, another name, and Muty too, that have been to multiple lands before. So excited to see what they can do. Obviously, their success has been palpable right now. Of course, 5-0 record thus far, and it's going to take quite an effort to take down a team like Lowkey that does have our second seed in this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, Lowkey is one of the giants to take out, so this is going to be a very serious victory if Global Breakout's able to make it happen. Now, I know that Umbri is playing a lot of Tetra Dualies lately. He's been playing them for a while, so when he doesn't play Blaster, that's one of the things that he'll go for. Now, Tetra Dualies, the nerfs to Tetra Dualies have been basically like skill-based nerfs, I guess. So, you know, when they have like something like thinner bullets, bullet hitboxes, such like that, it means that you have to have better accuracy in order to use them. Umbri, of course, you know, being a blaster player, being a precision weapon player in the past with the stuff that he's used, I mean, he's used CRB and Splat 1, that kind of stuff. He definitely has the aim, the technical skill to use those types of weapons. And with the comps that they tend to run on Global Breakout, he tends to be in a pretty good spot. When he doesn't run the Tetras, Cosmic is really good with dualies as well. So you'll see him kind of pick up that slack. You usually see Muty on whatever the proper pick of backline happens to be at the time. And I don't know as much about Axel, but from what I've seen, he's been kind of just going frontline stuff, which seems pretty solid to me. It's a very aggressive style of team where you have like lots of aggressive weapons like blasters and, you know, Tetra Dualies and all that kind of stuff, and then like another frontliner on top of it. And then you have the backliner. So it's kind of like Demise's play style, where it's basically, okay, we're going to run triple frontline, and we're going to play really aggressive. And if we go for, you know, if we get trades, or, you know, effective trades, we're going to be in a situation where we got a bunch of frontliners up rushing at you, and you have not a lot of frontliners able to really defend against it. And once once things get a little bit muddy, once things get a little bit, you know, a lot of scrambles going on, then it's a situation where we're in advantage, just because now that we're in a scramble situation where you can't be as refined, the frontliner is just going to plow through. So that's the kind of gameplay that we should expect from Global Breakout versus a more midline, stable, strategy-oriented team like Lowkey.
If you were playing a card game, that might be considered like an aggro type of deck versus more
like
of a control type of deck.
Like that.
Yeah. So really, I think Lowkey, you're exactly right. They have a strategy, and they're very good at that strategy. But in those rare cases where they get overwhelmed and they can't perform that strategy, a team like Global Breakout might be able to just bum rush them down. And I think the first map and mode we're going to be starting out with, Rainmaker on Blackbelly Skate Park, is a great avenue for that. So this is going to be their sort of set expectations map and mode. This is where, if they get those quick 3-down picks, they're going to have the frontliners and the aggressive players that can not only rush down their mid and backliners on the side of Lowkey, but also build up their specials relatively quickly. So while they're either taking the half pipe or just going straight through mid, they're going to have 1 or 2 specials constantly ready to push Lowkey further back into their spawn and make them rely on their back.
Say cards after your last reference, but we'll see how it's working out. Now we see the Tetra Dualies coming out of Global Breakout. We also see the slashing, the Kensa machine coming out of Umbri. Double Ninja Squid on the side of Global Breakout, so a very aggressive comp right now. We also see a Splatling and another shooter coming out of them. Lowkey going with a Umbrella, which is going to be a huge tool for a lot of these weapons that Global Breakout is going. You know, like we talked about, straightforward shooting weapons tend to have a bad matchup versus something like Umbrella. So that's kind of like the weapon to watch out for. You know, who can take out the Umbrella, why, where, and when. If you do that in the right situation, it puts you at a huge advantage where you're much able to push up aggressively.
As predicted with Arashi, they are going to be going with the Kensa Mini Splatling. Good kill there by the 1, and popping off a few bombs as well. This is a pretty rare sight as well. No Kensa Splattershot Pro on either of these teams. So the 1 here going to be picking up the Rainmaker and should be relatively safe if they can make it through those 10 missiles, but unfortunately the answer to that is no. However, 3 members still alive on the side of Lowkey, 2 of them with their specials in tow, and Arashi pulling out the hammer in front of Spawn. Can they complete the Spawn camp? Not quite, but they're going to have a good shot of finishing this one off.
Oh my gosh, we saw the yeet. We didn't see it in first person, but we saw it in third person, and that is going to be a knockout. So man, that was a situation right there where the first time that we looked at the Brella did what it was supposed to do. It put up its shield. A shooter was shooting at it. No option at that point. Teammate sweeps in, picks up the assist. They rush forward, they get specials, and they just were brutal and turn it into a big knockout. I mean, by the time that the camera was able to catch up with the action, Arashi was already flanking. Then he got special, and then he used that hammer. He was swinging it up, clipping the hammer through the geometry of the map to make sure that no one could get close enough to defend the Rainmaker. Even though it got popped once, by the time Global Breakout started respawning, other members had dropped, split spawns, someone gets yeeted by the hammer, and then there's just a knockout right there. I mean, it was basically just, you know, perfect play after perfect play out of Lowkey. They executed all of that flawlessly.
Yeah, Splatoon doesn't really have like a tank characteristic to it, but I think Brellas are typically that tank role where they can either stand in front of your more, yeah, like a tent umbrella is the biggest thing that comes to mind. Obviously, it does have the largest canopy.
It has a younger cousin, though.
Ah, yes, indeed. And that is the Sorella Undercover Brella, or Brella rather. So we are going to be seeing on tower control Mako Mart probably a relatively similar composition. I can't see too many things changing. The hammer obviously worked out well.
We might see a Kunder out of the one just because, you know, those torpedoes and the armor are so good on tower control. And I just knowing the weapons that Arashi and Gamer play, well, actually, no, Misa might end up going under Kunder, and the one might go regular Bella, and then we'll see a Splatling out of Gamer and the front line of choice out of Arashi. That's an option that they have as well. But just knowing the way that Lowkey you know, thinks about weapon comps, they're going to be like, all right, well, we need an armor because there's probably going to be a Stingray on the enemy team. It's not even a question.
Top 10 weapons we could have predicted to see at a tournament like this one. Mini Splatlings also pretty common at this event, and we are now for the first time in this set, as well as last set, seeing a Charger. So Muty going to be bringing out the Splat Charger to combo with the rest of those weapons, which are relatively short range.
Interesting that Arashi is choosing to go with L3D on this map and mode combination. L3D, of course, is a strong weapon on paper, but that Inkjet has been kind of falling out of the meta for a while now. You know, it's kind of hard to deal with all these mid-range weapons, but it seems like they have chosen to go with the Inkjet, maybe on this map because there's lots of places where you can fly under something that's pushing you up and elevated away from the mid-range weapons, or maybe because they realize that they're probably not going to see that many long-range threats to the Inkjet out of Global Breakout. No matter the reason, they have started to push pretty early on in the game.
Yeah, to no one's surprise, Stingray popped once the tower reached the first checkpoint, and that's probably going to be the end of the push. Gamer jumping on the tower relatively quickly when that push got started. That's usually where you want your backline player to be. And we haven't talked much about torpedoes either. Torpedoes, despite facing a couple of nerfs, have been really useful tools and have sort of put point sensors underwater, because why would you run one that doesn't do damage when you can have a torpedo that tracks them, shows you where they are, and sometimes will even finish them off?
Yeah, I mean, you know, detection is a big deal in games that do have a stealth element. Of course, Splatoon has a huge stealth element, so detection that also does damage is ridiculous, especially out of a weapon like Kunder that can spam them like crazy without any real drawbacks. I mean, it gets armor really quickly. It paints if it has to, but, you know, torpedo spam is kind of the name of the game, and when you're a player like the one, or I believe it was Umbry? I forget exactly. I mean, all the people on all of these teams are very skilled players, but you can also use that torpedo by throwing it behind your target, having it lock on them from an angle where they have to look away from you to deal with the torpedo. Then you get damage from the main weapon, and you get damage from the torpedo, and it combos together for a kill. So, that all being said, how will Global Breakout deal with this push? Lowkey has already gotten past the first checkpoint, a Stingray is going off, and this is looking kind of sketchy.
Yeah, what you were talking about with the torpedo, it's sort of like being pincered without two people. It's you can be the one person, and then you can have the torpedo go behind them. So 3XL there having to back off, not really getting a lot of maneuverability here. And surprisingly, we are still seeing a big prevalence in Tenta missiles. That's, I think, because there are so many walls on this map, you kind of have to navigate almost like this maze in order to get away from them, especially if you're the only one targeted by them. So difficult to get away from, and Gamer, again, not too afraid to be that aggressive, jumping out because they are 2/3 to their Stingray, and they are aware that Global Breakout might be able to make a push here with their own Stingray, and also the Kunder coming up on their special as well.
Yeah, Gamer knows that he's going to need to get Stingray to just make sure that this lead that the team has earned does not get overtaken by something small going wrong. He's going to make sure that he has that Stingray. Arashi also with the Inkjet. There's 2 specials apiece for both teams. Let's see how this ends up working out for them. The Stingray gets popped by Global Breakout first. and it looks like some members of Lowkey go down. So this is actually a nice situation for Global Breakout. Now, somehow, Gamer got taken out by that Stingray, so that's a huge pick for them. We just talked so much about the fact that Gamer's getting that Stingray, so taking him out really puts a damper on all the decision-making that just happened for Lowkey. That all being said, it seemed like after not that much time, Lowkey was able to kind of respawn, get some picks, and kind of negate all the advantage that Global Breakout just gotten. We didn't really get to see it from the perspective that we're looking at right now, but it's either a situation where Global Breakout didn't push up as hard as they should have with their advantage, or one of the members of Lowkey that was alive got a clutch double. Either way, it's really getting difficult for Global Breakout to make a comeback right now. They have to push past 30, and we're almost down to a minute left in the game of tower control, and that's not a long time to make a push.
Yeah, and I do admire both of these teams, not afraid to push pretty far forward. Even Beauty on this Charger having to jump out here, or at least attempt to. They just barely stay alive after that barrage of Tenta missiles, but not afraid to push up with their special in tow and not burning it right as they get it, either waiting for the prime opportunity to try and get at least one pick so that their team can make a push here. Stingray going to be a zoning ultimate there, not really going to find anybody. Misa still hanging around, trying to wait for the opportunity to keep that tower from being taken over, but 3Axel going to win that 1v1, and decides it's the proper time to pop those 10 missiles. So they do have a couple of specials coming online. I think they're trying to save pretty much everything for what will maybe need to be an overtime push.
Yeah, Global Breakout is going to need to make sure that they get a counter Stingray special ready ASAP. Gamer has Stingray and he's popping it now. What happens in response? Now we saw the armor go off. We see missiles go off for a second time, and actually a small amount of time to deal with Gamer Stingray. It looks like someone from Global Breakout was taken out. No deaths on the side of Lowkey yet, so this is kind of a bad situation for Global Breakout. They kind of blew all their specials to try to push, and they really weren't able to get the tower past the middle of the map. Once overtime starts, Gamer will surely be able to get another Stingray if he is not taken out. With Muty getting taken out, there's no counter ray, and that is going to be game 2.
Effectively a full wipe there at the end. The Kunder, the only person left alive who could have provided a special that could have let their team at least try and jump to the tower, something that was very prevalent at the end of games in Splatoon 1, but isn't really as
Splatoon
useful.
1, you say?
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't want to point fingers at any particular meta, but yeah, so the one here able to get 7 ink armors contributing to a 14 KA. You did call that one out very effectively, the Kunder being very prevalent on that map and mode combination. So Lowkey going up 2-0. Global Breakout, though, taking that one all the way to the end, so showing a little bit more resilience in that second game. Do you think the momentum carries forward with them to potentially give them a Game 3 win?
I mean, they did have a lot of momentum for the first, like, maybe not the first half of that game, but kind of like past a certain point, I'd say for about like a half of a third to the game's duration, they were holding on to that momentum. They were getting a lot done. Just the problem was that they weren't really converting it into points. Once that momentum faded, Lowkey kind of put an end to all of it and just took map control, and Global Breakout really wasn't able to make anything of it. Now, was that a momentum loss? I don't think so. I think that was more of a situation where their push ended and there wasn't really enough time in the match to get another one started. So I wouldn't necessarily say that there's any kind of momentum as far as like confidence and the team's perceptions of each other that is conducive towards Global Breakout kind of like quote-unquote losing momentum. It's just that they're going to need a lot in order to topple Lowkey in the first place. Coming back with a reverse sweep to boot is just how?
Well, I mean, one of the factors that has to be mentioned is the LAN environment. So some players not as accustomed to the LAN environment. Lowkey, obviously, with the sponsorship in tow, with multiple tournaments under their belt, pretty used to this environment as of right now, with a crowd right in front of them watching their matches. And oftentimes, I would think being not really cheered for as being the favorite in a lot of their matches. The crowd usually going for the underdog unless they specifically came there to watch that team.
Lowkey has won as the underdog enough times where they're not the underdog
anymore.
Is that funny? How much that can change
die
over
a
not
hero or live long to see yourself become the villain. So really difficult to say what Global Breakout needs to do here to come back. I mean, we are heading into Humpback Pump Track. This is, once again, a map with lots of options for lots of different weapons. Short-range weapons in particular, I think, have the opportunity to excel here.
There's like 90 Kensa weapons
yeah,
on the field
we are seeing some things we haven't seen all tournament. I haven't seen a Kensa Rapid, a Heavy Splatling Remix.
It's triple Kensa and 1 Sheldon for both teams.
So the devs really looking to make their newest weapons some of their greatest weapons here. The Kensa Splatterscope, another one that already has their special in the early part of this game, and Arashi switching over to that Kensa L3, one of the things that made them more famous at Genesis 6, consistently popping that hammer and getting 2 to 3 players, starting it out with a double kill and looking for a third, but Muty, bold in the face of danger, able to take them out with 9 clams at their disposal.
Yeah, Muty definitely understanding her situation right there. She either had to jump out or get a pick that was at least safe. She went for the safe pick, then backed up, didn't get taken out. What is that situation right there? That barely surviving the Booyah Bomb, having Muty just run up and partial charge you, complete confidence. You know that when you see things like that, Global Breakout is not at a loss of momentum we were talking about before the game, and I think that's enough evidence to suggest that Global Breakout is still doing well. The problem is when you have Arashi maining the Yeet Machine, he is going to just take anything that's not perfection and turn it into the bottom of a hammer stamp. That is going to lead to the first break of a basket in this game with the one throwing in more clams. It looks like there's more to come.
We talked about camping that Booyah Bomb, the drop down with the Booyah Bomb. Misa taking it a step further and actually standing on top of the pedestal with a Booyah Bomb saying, I dare you to come this way. Actually try and get past me. So not quite to the halfway point here as Lowkey is going to get stopped at 53. Cosmic the only one currently with their special and running some main power up here. Main power up pretty effective on the Rapid Blaster to try and secure
accuracy, yeah,
the accuracy in as many directs as you possibly can, because that 85 damage is so crucial, because a lot of times players will already have either stepped in the ink or will have taken another shot from that team fight. That'll result in the Rapid being a one-shot kill.
Oh, hello, I'm Arashi. You were in my way. So, yeah, I also thought, I just want to point out before the situation's too old, but I just thought that was kind of cute as Misa was throwing in those clams and he saw the splashdown above him. You saw that moment of hesitation. Do I shoot it down or do I throw in a clam? I throw in a clam and die. And he just kind of took that with honor. But ooh, nice direct. There's that short hop, that short hop fast fall direct. I guess if you're at a Melee tournament, you're going to have to like mimic Falco with the way that you play your Rapid Blaster. Yeah,
we call that the fight or flight mentality, and it looks like Lowkey for now, other than throwing in that Booyah Bomb, choosing flight. Umbri trying to get something with that splashdown. Not quite going to happen, but they will finish off Misa with that indirect. The Booyah Bomb looking for the one, not quite going to take them away, but still 2 down and coming dangerously close to the lead. They will grab it there just after the halfway mark, and even though they're not anywhere close to their specials, they've essentially got what they came for and can try to reset by getting map control back in mid.
Man, Muty has been playing so excellently in this game. I mean, we know that we pointed a lot of stuff that she was doing well in the games before, but she has just been going above and beyond in this particular map and mode, and it does not seem to stop. And it's really led to a situation where Global Breakout is able to not only take the lead, but take consistent map control. I mean, when the push ends, it's the other team. Oh, hello, Camo Shield. Oh, it's the other team that defended that's supposed to get map control, the Pity Clan, and some kind of advantage afterwards. But it seems like Global Breakout has said, no, we are going to play very well. We are going to make sure that when we're done pushing, we still have map control, we still have members, and we're going to be able to make another push.
Not being afraid to be aggressive, to match aggression with aggression. The one.
Oh dear.
Speaking of aggression.
Did the tent shield get a kill?
I guess so. Finishing off the team wipe there with both a tent kill and with that hammer. Arashi saying, you can pull out a hammer, I can pull out one too. Jumping in along with another power clan. They've got 2 at their disposal, but both make it in. That's going to be more. 1 clam away from tying and 2 from taking the lead, but no players are alive to accomplish that feat. So with just over a minute left, Global Breakout holding their defenses strong and even coming up on a couple of specials here, although they will lose their Kensa sloshing machine.
Oh, Cosmic showing that nerds can't throw footballs right there, but does it really matter that much? Global Breakout. Oh no, you can't do this to me!
That's a different type of commentator's curse. That's a commentator's insult.
It's like, shut up, Hitzel, I'm gonna miss this football. Oh gosh, if Global Breakout loses right now, we're going to have to blame those scrawny nerd arms. Oh, no.
Here it comes.
Wait, no, it missed.
Oh, one comes in. The second one sitting there again. A team wipe. Nobody able to accomplish that last power clam. And Global Breakout breathing a sigh of relief saying, hey, we're still in this one. But they're not backing down, pushing directly into mid. They want to maintain as much map control as they possibly can.
Oh, they have map control.
Their one special that they had coming up, other than this baller, gone already as the Kensa umbrella is down.
Muty's just gonna throw another ball in there. Actually, they might be in a situation where 2 footballs will still do it. But I'm surrounded by nerds, man. And that was like, how many misses of footballs was that in the span of like 30 seconds?
I think at least
seconds?
3.
At least
in
3.
like a few seconds.
We almost got 4th down right there, but it ended up in Global Breakout's favor, and that means that we get to see more of these high-level matches. Muty right there is pointing at the screen saying something. I think they're laughing a lot right there, and that's really good that a player like the way that Muty is playing right now is getting that wind behind her sails, because like every time we saw her, she was doing the right thing. She was getting picks. She was positioning herself well. She was getting that map control. She was using specials right. She was calling out people with her subs. I mean, she's kind of on fire right now, and the way that we saw the rest of Breakout playing, they were not only taking advantage of it, but they were creating advantages themselves. You asked about momentum, and that was definitely the momentum that they needed to win this set. You know, football misses aside, they played really well that game.
It's going to be very interesting to see how they take a map and mode like Clam Blitz Humpback Pump Track and transition it to Splat Zone Sturgeon Shipyard. They're going to have to need that aggression to not only take the zone, but to hold the court in front of the zone on Lowkey's side and make sure that nobody can come back into the zone. Of course, there is that very left-hand side long hallway that either a long-range player can just sit on and try and pick off anybody that's going to the zone, or you can have 2 or 3 members just bum rush that area and try to overwhelm one player that happens to be out of position.
Yeah, so the nature of Splat Zones definitely creates a force that forces teams to push at certain times. I often, in my debates, kind of compare Splat Zones to the way Team Deathmatch plays in a more traditional shooter, where you have basically a game of just, getting kills. But there is something on the map that forces you to do so in a certain area at a certain time. Now, in a traditional Team Deathmatch game, those are like the power weapons respawning. So in something like Halo, have like that rocket launcher, the overshield, your invisibility, that kind of stuff. In something like, Quake, you have... comes and goes in the same way. That all being said, Global Breakout, the way that they controlled mid last game is very conducive towards controlling mid and controlling court like you talked about in this game. The difference is going to be the fact that they're going to have to do it at certain times. Can they play objective at the right times like it's a traditional Team Deathmatch instead of just controlling the middle of the map kind of for longer and then making the pushes when you please?
Gamer running that absolutely disgusting power armor. That's going to give them multiple mains of ink resistance up. That's going to allow them a little bit of armor, but not that much. Arashi getting 2 quick picks there. Muty, you called them one of the MVPs of that last game.
He's going to throw it.
And nothing for him. So very close, and I wanted to talk a bit about resource usage there. We are getting almost to the halfway point, but knowing when and where to use your resources is so crucial. Misa only using their main weapon there. They have tons of resources to use there, not having to expend their special right now, and 3 specials currently online for Lowkey after that explosive start.
Going to take it out here. This is really good for Global Breakout's ability to get back into this game. They have so many specials available. A Baller's about to come out. There's a Stingray coming out now, but the Ink Arbor is going to keep Muty alive for a little bit. Will they be able to actually turn it into a push? Lowkey members are respawning. This missile's going off, but is that enough to actually take mid? Lowkey once again in control of the zone. It looks like Global Breakout wasn't able to get in the mid, and bonk goes the hammer. This is going to end.
Oh my gosh, what a game. We saw Lowkey hardly use any resources at the very beginning of that game, steamroll over Global Breakout, then use the 3 specials they had accumulated to continue that push. Global Breakout forced to use every single special and bomb at their disposal. At the end of that push, where they finally had the zone even contested, their largest special gained was, I think, 16.
Yeah.
So nothing to work off of in the ensuing fight, so they just got lambasted once Lowkey was able to get back to the point. Never able to take it over, and Lowkey finishing that set off in 4.
Yeah, I mean, that 4th game was the most convincing game of the set. I mean, if we're going to try to make some sort of correlation to what we were talking about, how that Clan Blitz game can translate to the Splat Zones game, we can,